Good afternoon, and thank you for patiently hearing all of us out. Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Governor Tawarchand Gehlotji, my colleagues in the Union Council of Ministers, also the ministers from Karnataka government, business leaders who are on the dais, and all investors who have really brought light and hope with the MOUs you have signed today. I welcome you all as a representative of Karnataka in the Rajya Sabha. I welcome you all. Let me at the outset appreciate the Karnataka Chief Minister, Minister Murugesh Nirani, and also the entire team of bureaucrats who have really toiled the last year to make sure that after a break indeed of a couple of years, when this global investors meet is happening here in Bengaluru, there would be investors who will come here because of the record of Karnataka, record of Bengaluru in facilitating industrial and also service-related activities. So congratulations for all of them, all of you who have come into the state with newer proposals or proposals to expand your existing business. I'd like to just draw an attention to Honorable Prime Minister's speech this morning and draw also from what is evolving around India globally. All over, there is definitely a sense of uncertainty, immense amounts of challenges, and that is not just for India. Every country in the world feels the headwinds are very strong, elements of certainty completely absent, even as we all started talking about China +1. When you wanted to diversify the value chains, or you wanted to ensure that there are more than one source for the raw material or for the intermediary products that you would produce. But also to have a consistency that you are somewhere, but you need to also have some other place where investments will have to be made so that eventually there are no huge disruptions. But that situation did not have its complete solution. You had the global situation of a war, such a war, especially from countries which are the source of essential raw materials, whether it is fuel related, whether it is fertilizer related, whether it is food grains related. So you have these countries which are at a situation, which are at a war-like situation, which are at war, which is causing a lot of insecurity to the globe, particularly in the area of fuel, energy that is, and food. So food grain and fuel insecurities have become a big issue of uncertainty for the globe. And as a result, countries are readjusting themselves to source these materials from a different part of the world. Now that has had a bearing on industries, that has had a bearing on economy and its growth, that has had a bearing on trade, global trade as well. And as a result of these disruptions, you find large economies, which were also source of essential raw materials or intermediary products, or also which were the essential markets to which emerging markets were sending their products, are all going through huge recessionary doubts. They may technically be at the threshold of recession, but yet are not really out of that suspense or shock that will they be getting into further rigid recession in the future. Now, with all these uncertainties, I'm here to put it before you that because of the careful planning, targeted facilitation, fiscal prudence, and essentially understanding Indian economy for what strengths that it has, and for the challenges that it has to face, Honorable Prime Minister led from the front and made sure that Indian economy will not be severely threatened by these developments outside, ensured that hand-holding happened, targeted supports were extended to industries which required, particularly the MSME, and made sure that the Indian economy would be very carefully navigated through this challenge that we face. Now, as a result of it, between 2020 and today, we seem to have come out to a situation where the challenges continue. The newer challenges are also building up, but India is seen as an island of certain level of calm. We still do have our challenges, but not as would every other country suspect that India will be threatened by. So in a way, I've been hearing, and this is not me saying it, I've been hearing, both during my Washington visit when IMF and World Bank meetings happened, and also through the various visitors which I have been receiving in Delhi, that India seems to be an oasis of stability and calm, and the challenges are being carefully firewalled, that our economy now is very clearly attractive for investors. And that is where we find the investment interests, and Karnataka as a state has carefully reflected the policies of the center, has always made sure that policy consistency is held up, and held up only to make policies even more nimbly, in time, on issues which are developing, and make sure that the industry facilitates it. The industry consultative process which happens in Karnataka is one of those which are extensive. And as a result, today, I've heard from the Chief Minister that initially when this global meet was planned, their expectations and target was somewhere in the range of 5 lakh crores. Today, that has moved upwards to about 7.5 lakh crores, of which he has already cleared 2.8 lakh crore related proposals. So unlike some times when we hear MOUs getting signed, MOUs realizing in part, we are here realizing and understanding that MOUs have already been given the clearance by the state government, and as a result, even on the day when this meet happens, based on the original target, more than 50% of the MOUs have already been cleared. That is the proactive nature of this government being led by Chief Minister Bommai, and it is that speed which gives confidence to the investors that the MOUs are done with facts on the ground. And I also see that the MOUs which have come up are coming up in newer areas, the sunrise areas. Whether it is hydrogen, the mission that Government of India announced, whether it is green ammonia, whether it is making sure that the corridors are coming up for industries, whether it is connecting with the ports, whether it is newer mines, which Dr. Shri Prahlad Joshi ji expanded. These are the kind of things on which the government in Karnataka has actually been proactively moving further ahead at good speed. As a result, you find investors taking interest, not just for a Karnataka which is top on the service sector because of the presence of IT companies, but also because of the traditional old India industries which are core to production. The steel, the aluminum, and also many other such which help in the core businesses to provide that backbone for industrial development. So the old exists with the new sunrise, and the policies like the industrial policy, the energy policy, the IT policy, all of which I've been periodically hearing from both Mr. Murugesh Nirani and Minister Ashwath Narayan, both of whom have been constantly making sure that the industry benefits because of the consultation through the policies coming out in time. So just for records, and because all of you all are here, I thought it is important for me to summarize those particular areas in which Karnataka has stood out, as a result of which today we see a lot of interest among investors. Permit me to rapidly read out few of those which are noteworthy achievements of Karnataka. I already said that the state's new IT policy, 2020-25, is a very big step, and it also looks at electronic system design manufacturing, telecom services in 6 clusters. That's a major move forward for any state. And those clusters are going to be not in Bengaluru, but outside. Mangaluru, Tumkuru, Mysuru, Hubli, Shivamogga, and Kalaburgi. Now, that is taking development beyond Bengaluru, not just for IT, but also for other industries. The one district, one product is something which the state is moving fast on. Land reforms are happening. Similarly, the renewable energy policy of the state is something which I think is very rewarding. And as a result, you have a lot of investments happening in the renewable energy area as well. There's also enhanced facilitation process to ensure greater transparency. Industry wants stability of policy. Industry also wants transparency. They do not want to be harassed by rent seekers at any level. And because of this facilitation process, to ensure transparency, Karnataka is sending a message that industry here will mean that they will be facilitated through policy and no rent seekers will be entertained. I commend the Chief Minister for having come up with this, because at a time when industries are moving out of different destinations, such as China, and also Europe now, because they're going through a very trying period, industries are moving out to destinations which are going to be attractive for other than just tax incentives. The one list which I'll certainly draw your attention to. Karnataka is a leader in many sectors. First in renewable energy, because 63% of all our installed capacity lies in renewable energy. First in electrical vehicle innovation, home to about 7+ auto OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, more than 7 of them are here, and 50+ auto component manufacturers are here. And 45+ electric vehicle startups are in Karnataka. We cannot miss that. That's the ecosystem which you, the investors, would prefer to have. First in IT exports, and second in total exports across all Indian states. So you actually are in a state which is so dynamic and performing. Also, first in aerospace and defense manufacturing. No wonder investments are coming in for the newer areas. First in machine tools, manufacturing again. First in biotech production and also in biotech exports. First in electronic design and in R&D in India. So I just want the canvas laid out before us to understand the state which is rapidly moving in performing better, setting high benchmarks, and as a result, this is what is going to behave like a magnet for investors to come in. Now, the one important, at a national level, the one important feature of Karnataka, it's a major job generator. And on that, I would like to tell you So when you're moving in from different parts of the world, you're coming in because of the policy consistency. You're coming in because there is a policy at the Government of India level which gets matching response in a state, so the two engines are working together and therefore powerfully. But the more important thing is you're coming here because the policy is nimble and takes you forward fast. Equally, it's also the state which has the knowledge base, the number of skill sets that the the youth here have is an attraction that you're coming in. That gets summarized in this one point. Karnataka is a major job generator, having produced 10% of all the formal jobs in the country, while contributing 8.8% to the national GDP, whilst its population is only 5% of the total national population. 5% population contributes 8% to the gross domestic, 8.8% to the gross domestic GDP, and therefore the biggest job creator, that is about 10% of all the jobs, formal jobs in the country, is generated here. So I would not go further to talk about the other features of Karnataka, but I wish to assure all the investors that the state is absolutely very nimble-footed to make sure that the policies are going to be kept abreast of the global development at a time when all of you all are trying to move in. Here is a state which has showcased itself for all the previous achievement and assuring that even now, from now for the next 25 years, during Amrit Kal, Karnataka will be the essential foundation for very many investors to come into India and contribute from here to the entire globe. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I hope the investors will be serviced and absolutely facilitated well, both by the Government of India and by Government of Karnataka. We assure you the maximum cooperation from our side and wish you all the very best in your future. Thank you very much. Thank you to all.